hi guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's really great to have you with me today on my live book reading. So as you know, my name is Beth Shepherd and I'm the author of Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer. And over the next few weeks, I will be working my way through this book, a chapter twice a week. So far we've got up to chapter 8. So this week we will be reading the chapter First Steps to Freedom. But first, I want to just thank you guys all for joining me today. And it's such a pleasure to have you with me. So I just want to say hi to some people who I know have been listening regularly every week and sharing work with me. So I just want to say hi to Josh and Zara, who have been brilliant, and Amaya. You are brilliant. I love your work. And Hesely, thank you so much. We'll be sharing some of your work today. And Jinhan and Rohan, who I know are watching regularly. So I hope you guys are all doing well. And if I didn't say hello to you, please let me know that you're watching. I would love to say hi to you in the next session. So today we are reading First Steps to Freedom. So if you tuned in last week, so that would have been Thursday last week when we said happy birthday to the amazing Captain Tom. So you would remember that Ernie was escaping, just about to escape or just discovered that he was a pet and was ready to escape and go after his dreams. And suddenly he was faced with a jar of tempting green olives for him to munch on. And he was thinking maybe life is not so bad as a pet and maybe he should stay and just forget his dreams. So just a quick recap for those of you who haven't joined in for all the chapters, just about the story of Ernie. So in the beginning, Ernie wakes up splat in a soggy, rotten avocado. And we hear that he's given up on his dreams. Okay, we find out what his dream was. If you guys have been watching, hopefully you remember. Okay, his dream was to reach the olive garden. So it's a place, a legendary place that he's heard about, and he really believes that it exists. But everybody, all his family and his friends just tell him that he's crazy for it and it doesn't exist and that he should just give up on his dreams. But Ernie is a determined dreamer and he doesn't give up easily. I know you guys are definitely determined dreamers. So despite no one believing in his dreams, he sets off. He's so brave. Easily could be squashed, but he's so brave. So he ends up waiting outside the house and jumps in a veggie box. So that's a vegetable box, which is being delivered from door to door. And he hopes if he stays in the veggie box, eventually he'll be carried to the bottom of the hill and all the leftover veggies will be thrown over the wall and he will just slide down the river and find his garden. But that doesn't happen. He ends up in a festival and things have gone disastrously wrong. So he ends up as a pet on a plant pot in the kitchen in someone's house, and he does not like it. And that's where he meets the annoying Captain Pablo. So we just have the picture of him over here, the annoying Captain Pablo, who I think is really quite funny. And I know you guys like him. So let's find out whether Ernie decides to ignore the jar of olives and keep going. Oh no, sorry, just remembered, I'm one chapter behind. We've already found that out. He's already gone for his dreams. I forgot completely. Last session, he fell behind the fridge. That's it. Mm-hmm. And he found all the empty shells. Well done if you had remembered that. He found all the empty shells and he realized that life as a pet was not rosy, that there was something a little bit sinister going on, and he definitely needed to escape this place. So, first steps to freedom. Ernie had to think quick. As he scanned the kitchen, his mind raced to think of an escape plan. Suddenly, his eyes landed on a large green olive that was waiting for him to feast on, and a crazy idea came to his mind. He didn't think, he just got busy. Carefully, he hollowed out the inside of the olive, and then, when the hole was big enough, he squeezed himself inside it. Ernie waited patiently for his owners to come and change his food bowl. He had watched them do it 100 times, So he knew that they would soon sweep the leftover food into the rubbish bin, and eventually they would empty its contents out of the window and onto the compost heap. So I'm wondering if you guys have one of those little bins where you put all the leftover scraps, the vegetable peelings in there, and then when it's full, you throw it out. So that's what Ernie has decided he can do. Jump inside an olive, wait until he gets thrown in the veggie bin, and then hope that they throw it out the window and he will be free on the compost heap. Another great plan of Ernie's. Let's see what happens. With his head poking out the center of the olive, he had a perfect view of the entire kitchen. And it wasn't long before he saw one of them, meaning his owners, come straight towards him. Shall we just have a look at Ernie and his the olive that he's found himself in? I'm just going to turn up the brightness on the screen so I can see you guys. That's better. Right, so immediately popped himself inside his shell and hid inside the olive. Sure enough, just as he had anticipated, his owner scooped him up along with his leftovers and carried him across the kitchen. Perfect, just as Ernie had planned. Ernie poked his head out slightly and could see his owner's feet walking along the red-tiled floor towards the brown bin. His pet head bobbed up and down with every step she took. Perfect, he whispered. Just show you again in case you guys missed that. One of my favorite pictures, this is Ernie's head poking out of the olive. And the illustrators put him in a little bowl with his name on it, which I think is really cute. Perfect, he whispered, excited at the thought of one of his plans finally working. Then, whoosh, she threw him into the bin. Gosh, that must have been quite traumatic for a poor little snail. As soon as everything was quiet and Ernie was sure that she had gone, he squeezed himself out of the olive. After he had dug his way out from under the pile of scraps, he sat on a heap of food and looked around. So he's now just in the veggie bin with all the rotting scraps. But I think snails like rotting scraps, so he probably is quite happy. There was scrap after scrap of glorious snail delights. He took a deep breath and inhaled the sweet smell of rotting vegetables. "Hola!" came a familiar voice from behind him. "What you doing, my slimy green amigo?" buzzed the fly. Ernie let out a frustrated sigh. "I am leaving this place, and I suggest you do the same. But don't follow me. I don't want you buzzing around me like a bad smell any more," he said, hoping that he would soon finally be free of the fly and his pet home once and for all. I think he's really getting annoyed with the fly. "Oh, I see. Now you're slim, you'll get feisty. You want to fight with Captain Pablo?" Ernie ignored him. He looked up to the top of the bin, and to his delight, the lid was open. His dream to get to Snail Paradise lay before him, and he was not going to let anyone or anything stop him from achieving his dreams. "Oh, I see. You're going to escape. You will never reach the top. You're just a silly green slug. But I race you. See you there." Ernie quickly grabbed a snack of cabbage and avocado before beginning his ascent to the top of the bin. He knew he had to move fast, otherwise he would find himself squashed under another pile of scraps. So if the owner pours in more scraps, he is done for. So Ernie has to act fast. It was midday and it was hot. So remember, the story is set in Spain, so it's hot, hot, hot there. So poor Ernie is really struggling with the heat. Ernie felt sweat running down his small head, but he kept going. He looked back at the trail he had made. Remember, snails make an awesome little trail, which is really cool, so you can see where they've been, so he can check how far he's gone. Once again, he was surprised at his speed, in spite of the heavy rucksack on his back that was pulling him down, and failed attempts to swat the fly that seemed intent on distracting him. He was determined that this time nothing was going to hold him back. Finally, he reached the top of the bin and took a deep breath. He felt rather proud of his efforts, but he knew that once he shook off the extra weight that he had gained, he would be able to go even faster. Now, all he needed to do was wait until someone came to empty the rubbish bin. Perfect plan, Ernie. Let's see, hopefully everything goes to plan this time. All this waiting was hard work, so Ernie decided to take a much-deserved rest on the rim of the bin. In no time at all, he had fallen into a deep snail sleep, dreaming of the olive garden and living in an olive as big as a house. Wow, that's an awesome dream. I wonder what snails do dream about. So next chapter we'll read Food, Glorious Food. Oh, don't want you guys to see too much of it. So we'll find out what happens. Does Ernie fall asleep and fall back into the bin? Or does his plan go ahead and he gets thrown out the window onto the compost heap as he hoped? So well done for listening. And I wonder if you guys did your activity last week of the news report. So this was one of my favorite activities. So if you guys did, please feel free to send it in. I would love to read it and I would love to share it out. And it doesn't matter if it's next week or whenever, just share it in, bring it, send it in and I'll share it out. So actually, that reminds me, I have someone's awesome work to read out to you. And it is from a few weeks back. So do you remember we did the Ernie's letter home? So a lovely girl called Hessley has written a brilliant piece of writing. So I'm just going to read it out to you. Dear Ernie, please could you help me find, dear family, sorry Hessley. Dear family, please could you help me find the olive garden? It's a magnificent place. Great word to use. There would be fresh, juicy olives winking at us in the sunshine. What a beautiful description. And a huge, luxurious pool, so she's remembered some of the words, with leaves and lily pads ready to float on. Beautiful. Don't call me a silly slug. I actually think I'm rather intelligent, unlike all of you. Ooh. Try and believe me, please. So she's really pleading with them to believe her. Imagine all the lemon trees we'll see if you all come along. We could make an even bigger home and call all our friends to live there too. Wow, what a great piece of persuasive writing. So she's really trying to think of things to convince her family that this is a good place and they should come. Can you see she's using all of her thoughts and all of her creative writing skills? The place will be flawless. Chewing gum won't be littered anywhere either. We would never run out of food, and we will be able to have big parties and social events. Great idea. Great idea. Trust me, please. We'd have an even better life and won't be hard to find food. It will be everywhere. All of our favorites would be there. My mouth keeps watering when I think about ginormous and tasty avocados. Come with me to find them. Sincerely, Ernie. Brilliant. I love this, Hessley. I love the way that you've opened your sentences, the way that you've really pleaded with the family to come and join you. So this is really good. So thank you for sharing that. So today, I have an activity for you guys, another one. So let me see, what did I decide? So short sentences. I don't know if you've noticed in my books, let me see if I can find some, that I love to use short sentences in my writing. Oh, I don't know if I can find one. Oh, okay. First line is a short sentence. Oh, can you see it? Oh, wrong way. Ernie had to think quickly, full stop. Okay, can you see how it's just a short, sharp sentence? Don't be afraid to have short sentences in your work. And also, we have talked about short sentences before, but I am talking now about short sentences for action. Okay, so I love action. So I would love you guys to write a piece of a race. So how Ernie is racing against time to get to the top of the bin. I would love you to write a similar piece about racing. So choose a character, doesn't matter, boy, girl. Don't worry too much about the character. Just pick your character. Could be a snail, okay? And could be a snail race. Okay, so just some ideas there. And they are racing. Could be someone running for the bus, maybe. So, but the point is, there is a sense of urgency. And in order to get that sense of urgency, that something has got to happen quickly, short sentences are a great way for keeping the story moving along fast. And that's what you want. So for example, like in the opening of your story, you would write beautiful, long descriptive sentences with your adjectives and similes because you're describing a setting. But in a place maybe near the problem or solution, or maybe even the build-up, there is action. So things are, you're not worrying so much about your description, but you're trying to get a feeling of something is happening fast. So also you want to mix it with feelings and emotions. So for example, could have said something about if Ernie was sliding up to the top of the bin. Feel free to use that as your example of a race. So you could say Ernie's heart pounded, full stop. Quickly he slid as fast as he could, full stop. He could feel his body beginning to slide backwards, full stop. Then you might want to add in a slightly longer sentence. With every bit of strength he could find, he pushed harder and harder to keep going until he was almost to the top. Just then he felt himself falling backwards, full stop. Okay, so can you see how you can use maybe 2 or 3 short sentences followed by a longer, slightly more descriptive sentence and another short sentence? So use your short sentences for how someone's feeling. His heart was pounding. Also for what they're doing. Quickly, he raced ahead, full stop. Okay, so also think about how you open your sentences. So instead of just he raced ahead, quickly he raced ahead. It's a really exciting way to open up a sentence. So I hope that helps you. Please send in a paragraph or 2 of racing is your theme. So anything to do with racing. Okay, so my tip, which kind of that was just a tip, but I have another one for you, and it's a really important one, but it's one that you guys, and probably myself included, don't really like to use or to remember. Punctuation, because we forget that it makes the story read well. So just as important as having things like short sentences to make your story read well, punctuation makes the story read well. Without it, all our sentences blur into one, and the person reading it doesn't know when to take a breath. So you lose that feeling of impact and excitement. So don't forget to use punctuation. Always go back over your work and check it. That's the secret. So if you are super busy writing with your ideas, okay, that's fine. I always do that. Okay, but you must go back and check it. You cannot just leave it there. Okay, because guaranteed there's something missing that you need to put in, like a full stop or a comma or a spelling check or improve your writing. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening today. And I can't wait for Thursday when we do our next book reading. And I hope you can join me next time. And we'll be live on both Facebook and YouTube. So I'll be uploading this video to YouTube. So have a great few days and see you soon. And don't forget to like my Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube video. Take care. Bye.